Hey, everybody, it's Jonah Lupton from the Startup Sense podcast, back again with another great episode. We got a pretty cool guy we're going to talk to today. His company was actually on Shark Tank a couple years back. You'll probably remember them. The company is called Vengo, and we're going to talk to Steve Bofill. Steve, how are you?
Hey, Jonas, how you doing? Thank you for having me.
You're welcome, man. So I remember you guys on Shark Tank. You actually did one of the biggest deals ever with Lori and Kevin. It was a $2 million venture debt deal. Did that deal actually close?
It's still ongoing at the moment, but these processes take a very long time. But it was really exciting, and the exposure we got on Shark Tank was fantastic.
Awesome. So we're going to talk about all that stuff in a minute. First, just give us a little background on yourself.
So personally, I was a former aerospace engineer. I worked out in the different defense companies out in California for a while on various projects. My background is primarily mechanical engineering. I did that circuit for a bit, moved back to the East Coast. I'm originally from New York. And a few years ago, a gentleman, Brian Shimmerlich, approached me through a friend and said he had an idea to put a vending machine inside of a cab. So I told him I'd help him out with it. And eventually he got some funding through a contest that he won through, I want to say the NYC, there's a NYC IDA or something that he won through New York City that he was able to get this going. The idea quickly morphed into a standalone compact vending machine, wall-mounted, sort of a mini compact vending machine. And ever since then, we've been moving.
Awesome. I think it was New York City Next Great Idea.
Next Great, yeah, that's it. I'm sorry, I'm getting two agencies confused. My apologies.
That was 2012 that he won. I think $17,500. What year were you guys on Shark Tank?
We were on Shark Tank this year, though filmed the prior year. So we were on Shark Tank this year back in March, and it was filmed prior to that in the previous year back in May.
Okay. I feel like I've seen a few reruns already. That's why I was thinking it's longer.
Yeah, it's funny because it goes on like once every 2 months, and our website traffic peaks, and we hear about it. But yeah, it's still on, and it was really exciting.
So what did the company look like in terms of the product and kind of number of customers before you guys went on Shark Tank, and then kind of what happened after?
So in a nutshell, we do a lot here at Vengo. We do hardware, we do software, business, sales, etc. There's a lot going on, whereas some companies just do hardware, just do software. We've got a great team, and we managed to do everything in regard to the machine with the handful of employees. Right now we have about 14 employees. Prior to Shark Tank, I think the number was 9 or 10. And we're going to hire, I think, 2 more people very, very soon. So really, the big from Shark Tank was sort of our the customers and the brands that wanted to be a part of Vengo. So whereas before Shark Tank, we were kind of hustling, looking for. We already had some vending partners, but now they're everything's coming to us through the website. So it's definitely. Being on Shark Tank definitely helped us in terms of notoriety and establish, what is this machine? Oh, this is really cool.
Right.
Before that, a lot of people had seen the machine, and they honestly didn't know what it was, and that's understandable. It's a new piece of technology,
Right. So tell us exactly what is it. I'm not even sure if we really covered that yet. What does Vengo do?
Good question. So Vengo is a mini compact high-tech vending machine. It's about double the size of a shoebox, touchscreen and credit card only, no cash. And it goes where a normal vending machine cannot go. So it mounts to the wall, and it's not invasive at all. So a normal vending machine that you're familiar with, it's those big box vending machines. Ours is sort of a high-tech mini compact vending machine. It mounts to the wall, and it's got a display screen rather than a clear panel. That's one of the differences between our machine and a normal vending machine. We also have a patented-based cartridge restocking system. A normal vending machine takes anywhere from 20 minutes to a half hour for the guy to come in with a whole bunch of boxes and stock all the products. With us, it's a cartridge-based system. You've got 6 cartridges in each machine. We have a real-time feed of inventory. We know when every single machine is down in inventory, and the vending company comes, and they're in and out within 30 seconds. They take new cartridges, plug them in. The system automatically recognizes what's on that cartridge and displays it right on the screen along with default price and everything else. So essentially, that's the physical differences between our machine and a normal vending machine. And on top of that, we generate revenue through sale of product and also through media on the screen. So we're able to offer advertisements for the products in the machine and just general products, across the spectrum on all of our 21.5-inch screens. So we're really a vending machine, but we're also a media company as well.
Right. So your vending machines are about 1,000,000 times smarter than the old, ugly vending machines that we're all used to, that we remember seeing in our schools and, around the airports and stuff like that.
I wouldn't say a million, but definitely it's a huge step up. Like, for example, a normal vending machine, if you guys have ever, I've experienced this where, the bag of Cheetos, the coil does a full turn and the bag of Cheetos just gets stuck on the rack. We have two sort of feedback systems in our machine that prevents those type of incidences from happening. The first is we can detect when our cartridge has done a complete spin, meaning a complete turn of the coil or the mechanism in there that vends the product. So if it hasn't gone a full 360 degrees, we know about it instantly because our machines are all connected either through Wi-Fi, 4G, or Ethernet. On top of that, sometimes the product comes out, but it's still hanging on the rack. In our case, we have a drop sensor inside the system, which automatically senses when the product has broken the plane and dropped to the sort of the area where you would reach and grab your product. So between those two systems, we're at over 99.5% reliability in all of our products that we vend. And that alone makes us 10 times smarter than most vending machines out there. On top of that, one of the things that I'd spoken about was we have a motion sensor on our machine, so we can actually count for locations how many people walk by on any given day. That information is very valuable to locations, and it's also valuable to media brands and folks that want to invest in the media side of our company.
Right, for sure. What are some of the most popular locations where people can find these machines?
So we do really well in colleges, gyms, and hotels. We are expanding to other verticals, but those are our big three right now. Because we're based out of New York, we started in New York. I would say 75% of the machines right now are in the New York metro tri-state area. But we have machines, at various colleges, gyms, and hotels. But we've got machines all over the world. Country-wise, we have them in Boston, Florida, Colorado, Kansas, Texas, California, Seattle, and we also work with clients that sort of white label our machine and really personalize it for sampling campaigns, which is a whole nother discussion. But those machines are at various venues across the country. We've got a machine, I think, in Vietnam, in Europe, a couple in Europe, one in China right now. So the machines are all over the place, and each one of them is monitored through our back-end administration system. So we get real-time feed of all the data for all of our machines that are connected to the network.
And what's the typical type of inventory that's in these machines? And then does it differ by location and venue?
It usually does. In general sense, the typical product mix is more on the tech product side of things. We can do food items, and we do sometimes, but the majority of the products that we have in the machine are tech items: headphones, cell phone chargers, etc. There are slight differences between, for example, a machine that we have in a gym lobby versus a machine that we have in a college dorm. College dorm might have Tide Pods, for example, because it's near the laundry area, and the one in the gym might have locks for lockers. But in a general sense, we sort of start out with we have 6 bays or 6 SKUs, and most of the products are the same throughout all the machines, including headphones, cell phone chargers, basic tech items that you would need on a day-to-day basis.
Gotcha. And then what types of brands are you guys working with right now? And if a brand wanted to be part of kind of the Vengo, infrastructure, how would they get involved with the company? I mean, how do they get their products into your machines?
It's a good question. So we work with a bunch of different brands. Some, for example, cosmetic products for males and females. We also work with the traditional candy companies who are, we do some candy vending in our machines. Those brands are interested. Basically, if you've got a product and it fits within our machine, there's been general interest. So there isn't a specific type of brand company that we work with. We work with any. And the other thing is you don't have to have a product in the machine to want to display an ad on the screen. So we do also work with companies that just want to put advertisements on the 21.5-inch screen. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, yeah. So if I was like a supplement company and I had a fat burner and I wanted to sell this and all the Vengo machines that are in gyms, I could contact the company and perhaps do a deal like that if it made
Correct.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't really do it for one-off machines. There's a lot of testing for product reliability that happens on our end behind the scenes to make sure that your product, whatever you want to put in the machine, is reliable. But if you want to be in a bunch of our machines across the network, yeah, the next step would be we would test your product for reliability, and then we'd work it into the network.
Okay. So if I'm an owner of a hotel or a gym and I hear about Vengo and I want to put a few of your machines in my facility, do I contact you guys? Do I go through a vending machine company? How does it work?
No, you would contact us on our website. We've made the website pretty easy to follow and reach out to us in terms of what type of, we call it, location owner you are, and then it gets filtered to the right people, and then we work with you on placing machines at your location, and then we'll find a vending company that can restock those machines. We partnered right now with the largest vending company in the country, Canteen, and they do the restocking for a vast majority of our machines.
Gotcha. So I assume Canteen probably has a lot of their own vending machines in facilities around the country.
Correct. So our model is really we partner with existing vending companies that can add our machine to their portfolio and to their network. So and that's why we do mostly tech items because the existing big box machines, they've got the candy covered.
Right.
We handle tech items, and these vending companies are able to sort of add a new piece of hardware to their portfolio and put it in locations within the locations that they may not have gotten with their big box vending machines. So they're just basically able to sort of expand their portfolio with accounts they already have, and they also utilize our machine to close new accounts as well.
This is Jonah Lupton, founder of the Lupton Group and host of the Startup Sense podcast. Are you struggling to find the right tech team to build your company's website or mobile app? Maybe you've developed a product but need help with your go-to-market strategy, including branding and marketing. Well, stop worrying, because my team at the Lupton Group can assist you with all of those needs. We specialize in helping entrepreneurs and startups of all sizes launch and grow their businesses. For a free consultation, you can email me at jonahlupton@gmail.com or visit our website at luptongroup.co.
Take us back a couple years, because I mean, this is obviously the type of company where there had to be a lot of money spent upfront on hardware and software development. So did you guys, did you raise money before Shark Tank? I can't remember.
Oh yeah. We had a $1 million and a $2 million round prior to Shark Tank, and a lot of that's used to go and fund the machines. Hardware is hardware is rough. There's a lot that goes into it. You don't, if there's a change with if there's an issue with the software, you can usually go in and change the code. It's not the case with hardware. The parts are being made, and it's already out and being built. So I think with there's pros and cons, and not to take away from our software team. We've got a great software team, and they do fantastic work. But with hardware, you have to be careful, and unfortunately, it's capital intensive. But we're at a point now where the orders are coming in, and if the next order of machines will be paid for before we even have to raise money, hopefully. So that's kind of pros and cons. But back in the day, I think our strengths were we got a lot done on the hardware side. I mean, the machine we have right now is our 5th generation machine. Wow. We got a lot done for a little in terms of manpower, and that's, I think, a tribute to the talent that we have on our team. We've got a great team, and we rarely made. I don't think we ever made a real quote unquote expensive mistake. Where we ordered 100 machines and the dimensions were wrong for the casing, or we had the wrong single board computer inside. I mean, we really were there bumps? Sure, there's bumps, but the bumps were always minor, and we really made all the right decisions. In terms of the products that we picked and the integration of the systems and getting the systems ready to go.
Right. Yeah, I think you touched on an important point, because certainly mistakes within a hardware company can be way more expensive than mistakes on the software side.
In general, yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's mistakes on the software side that are costly as well, especially if they bring down systems that are already out in the field. But fortunately, none of that's happened to us so far. And yeah, I mean, that's the biggest thing that's frustrating with hardware, especially people that come from a startup environment that may not be used to a hardware company, is unfortunately things take time. With like anything else, we'd finish a design for our next generation machine, and we'd order it, and it would be 2-3 months before we saw it come in. And that's that's pretty aggressive right there. Sometimes it take even longer. So, this is our 5th generation machine. We did back in the day. We had our 2nd generation was this tiny little box, and we put that at a couple of bars, and then we upgraded and we did 50 of a 3rd generation machine, and then we did 250 of a 4th generation. Each time there was lessons learned. Okay, here's what we're going to improve on. And the biggest jump from our 4th to 5th generation machine. They look the same, but the 5th generations are much easier to maintain and do maintenance on if needed. They're easier to update, easier to swap out, for example, an SSD. Things that make us more scalable and able to send a machine off to, Seattle without ever having to worry about it. And so that's the biggest jump that we made recently. But like anything else, when the machines come in, you have a list of things you want to tackle on the 6th generation machine. So I've already got a list of stuff that we want to improve even further on the next one. So it's kind of a circular process, but it gets better and better and better every time. And I think personally we're already at a point where the machines are functioning fantastically and they're really, really reliable.
Nice. Do you have an idea of how many machines are out there right now total?
We have about 400 and change machines in the field, and I want to say in the next 2 to 3 months that number will jump to about 700, 800.
Wow.
Yeah, so now is like where we are moving fast now at sort of an exponential rate, getting these machines out and out the door and installed.
Talk to us a little about, so you guys raised, I think you said $1 and then a $2 million. So you raised about $3 million before Shark Tank?
And change. There were some smaller rounds prior to that, but yes, in general, that's it. Yeah.
So you guys have some great investors. I mean, I'm just looking at your Crunchbase profile right now, and I'll rattle off a few names. You got Brad Feld, David Tisch, Gary Vaynerchuk, Joanne Wilson. I mean, those are some really killer angel investors. Then you got a bunch of seed funds, Upstage and Box and whatnot. How did you guys find all those investors? How did you close them? It was before Shark Tank, right, with most of them?
Yeah, it was before Shark Tank, and I give credit where it's due. Really, I'm on the technical side of things. Brian Shimmerlich is more on the business side of things, and he went out and really hustled and got some of the best investors in the country, really. So that's more a question for him, but in my opinion, Brian is fantastic in that arena, and he really showed these people what Vengo was all about, and I think they were happy to sort of join the team. But Brian is, as you saw on Shark Tank, he's a really fantastic businessman.
Yeah. No, you guys obviously make a good team, and you bring different skill sets to the company, which I think is important. There's probably some overlap, but you guys kind of stay in your own little silo, and the company's probably better off for it that way.
Yeah, and it's like on every day there's a lot going on and so much to do that everybody knows what their role is and handles it pretty well. So on my end, I'd get involved with the business a little bit, but mostly I'm on the tech side of things.
You're probably lucky because fundraising is horrible.
It's I mean I like anything else, it's hit and miss, and I'm sure it's from Brian's end. I'm sure at times it could have been frustrating, but he did a fantastic job getting all the funding in round by round.
And it helps when you have a great product, you have some traction and stuff. I mean, that makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah, and our investors, I've met them. They're great people. They really love Vengo. They really believe in it, and they're really engaged and involved in the company.
So, I mean, you said before that you guys didn't make any serious expensive mistakes. What have been some of the biggest challenges along the way? Kind of besides developing the hardware and software, anything else kind of come to mind?
It's a good question. I think the biggest challenge is knowing what to do next. For example, we get lots of requests for, hey, can you do this with the system? Can you do this with the system? Can you do this? And some of the biggest challenges, okay, guys, we have a certain amount of bandwidth. What do we want to take on and what do we not want to take on? That's always that pops up every 2 months. Hey, we got an opportunity here, this, and this. Do we want to take it? Do we want to pause? But so far, I think we've really focused on the core and sort of gotten the unit off the ground. I'm thinking off the cuff here. The integration of the system, which my father, Brian Bofill, handles, is always a challenge. You've got hardware, you've got software, and then you've got electronics. He's sort of handling how they all integrate together. And when you're first testing out a new generation unit, there's always integration issues, but he's been able to take care of all those before the systems were deployed.
Nice.
And I'm sure there's been challenges on the business side of things, but I'd probably be better to have Brian or someone from the business team talk to that.
Do you guys have a sales team?
We do. We've got a few guys that just focus on sales, and I would say sales and logistics, because once the sale's made, there's really logistical aspects that need to be taken care of. But we've got great guys that take care of that.
Who are some of like the, as I call them, the 800-pound gorillas that you guys would love to work with? Is it someone like a Planet Fitness? Is it Marriott? There's probably a huge long list, but are there any companies you guys are really focused on targeting right now?
No specific companies. We are working with one of those companies that you mentioned, but really, what we're looking for going forward is national accounts. And so we've got some of those with gyms. We're in a bunch of colleges throughout the U.S., but national hotel chains would be fantastic. That's something that we're looking to break into this year. And the reason is it's a lot more scalable, and it's more beneficial for all parties involved.
Cool. Yeah, I can make a couple introductions. I know some people Planet Fitness, and then also World's Gym.
Okay. Yeah.
They're obviously franchisees, and I'm sure it's hard. It's hard to kind of break in, and then at what point does the franchisor have kind of power over the franchisees to put these machines in? Like, have you guys run into that?
Yeah, and I've run into that personally because I've been handling a lot of the stuff on the gym side of things, it's usually a split. There's always multiple people involved, and like anything else, 2-step forward, 1-step back process. You might have great review from the franchisees, and then corporate wants to get involved, understandably so, and we have to work on both ends to make sure everybody's happy.
Right. What is the pricing for the product?
In terms of the machine itself, or
the machine? Like, you guys basically sell the machine at kind of break even, right? And then you charge a per product fee.
Right now the machines are $3,100. As we build more in higher quantity, that price will go down. We sell to vending operators, and again, this is on a majority. Is it always like this? No, there's certain one-off cases, but in the majority, we sell to vending operators who then operate the machine, make their money back in about a year or so, and then the rest is gravy for them. And then we've got a 21.5-inch screen in a beautiful location that we utilize to display media.
Gotcha. So I'm just trying to think, like, I have a good friend whose father owns a large vending operation business down the East Coast. And I'm wondering, like, would you guys want to partner with someone like that?
That's who we partner with the most, to be quite honest. Okay. It's sort of a win-win. For them, they're able to have a new high-tech vending machine that they can introduce to their platform. That, by the way, helps them land new deals, because not only can we offer this, but we can offer this mini compact machine as well with this 21.5-inch screen, and we can place it in places that a normal vending machine from other companies wouldn't go. On top of that, they love the restocking system, and when they see they're making their money back in a year and change, it's really a win-win for them. A win for them, and then a win for us, because it's very easy to scale with existing vending companies. So they've already have a network with vending companies. They have experience in the vending business, and they're able to introduce our machine to locations that they already have under their belt.
Right. Like, I want to say he's a Pepsi guy, so I think all the products that he does in his machines are Pepsi, but I could be off. I'll make the intro, and then I'll let you guys take it from there.
Yeah, that'd be great. Sometimes, most of the time, we're a good fit. Sometimes we're not, but we're perfectly transparent about it. So yeah, be happy to talk with them.
Cool. What other advice can you give us? You've been on a 2 or 3 year journey with the company. What have you kind of learned about yourself, and then where are you trying to take the company from here?
I think the advice is, I think if you've got an idea, it's always worth a shot. Give it a try, no matter what. And even if it doesn't work out or you fail, you've learned quite a bit. And if Vengo was to fold up today, the experience that we all have under our belt would be phenomenal as compared to where we all were, and that's every member of the team, where we were 4 years ago. Awesome. In terms of advice on what to expect, don't think it's going to be a walk in the park either. It's always 3 to 4 times harder than you ever expected it to be, but just keep pushing through it. And the small wins turn into big wins, and things take time. It always takes longer than you expect it to be as well. I always get, like, now a lot of people, I have this idea, this would be so easy, and I'm like, yeah, okay, it's a good idea, but you gotta do this, and then you realize there's a lot behind it. And pick a good team. We have a really talented team that does a lot. I like to say sometimes that a normal company doing something like this would probably need 30, 40 employees, and we managed it with 10 over the past few years. And I think, that's because we busted our ass, but we've also got, like I like to say, we've got the A squad, and so I think who you pick for your team, you might have the best idea in the world, but those who help you execute it sort of need to know what they're doing and need to have a really good attitude and a hard work ethic.
Yeah, you guys have kept it pretty lean. I mean, typically when I'm interviewing someone that's raised, at least $5 million, I mean, they're probably, well over 20 employees at that point. So,
Yeah, we have. I think I think that's a testament to the talent on the team, and we also try to work smart. Some tasks like design are often outsourced to folks that we can do that can work remotely. So we have like 15 to 18 people working for Vengo, but some are on a part-time basis, and we really just try to work as lean as we can. I'm sure we're going to hire more people very, very soon. But yeah, I mean, we've done a lot with a little, and that's, I think, a testament to all the folks in the company.
What's your favorite hiring or recruiting tip for other entrepreneurs?
Actually, I'll tell you a story on that front. Friend of mine we never did this, but I always thought it was an interesting story. I don't have any particular tip in that agenda, but a friend of mine would always, he ran like a hiring firm, and he would give incorrect directions, but he'd give the correct address. And if someone called him to figure out where they're going, he would always, that'd be like the test, and if they could figure it out, that would be, okay, we'll bring you in, this guy's hired. And that was, I always thought that was a funny story. But no, to be serious, it's tough. It's usually judgment calls, but typically the one thing I would look for no matter what is work ethic. Anyone can, you weren't born knowing anything. Anyone can learn anything, and I think if they have a positive work ethic and they really bust their ass, that's the number one thing I would look for, because anything else can be trained and learned. We got a lot of guys. For example, a good friend of mine, Anthony, him and I played rugby together in Connecticut. Brought him in 3.5 years ago, part time, to just screw screws into a motor for this, one of these machines that we're using. Fast forward 3 years later, and he's head of all operations here at Vengo. He's a tremendous worker, and he's got a fantastic work ethic. And so I think that above anything else is really what helped us out with him.
Awesome. I mean, I know you probably don't deal with the investors as much as your business partner does, but is there any single best piece of advice that you can recall from any of your investors kind of giving you or the company?
Advice from them? No, to be quite honest, you'd have to ask Brian what his, he does talk to them a lot more often than I do. And so you have to ask him the specifics of what the best piece of advice was. My advice in terms of talking to investors and the bit of experience I have is just keep your cool. They ask tough questions, but give them the best answer you can. If you don't have an answer, I don't know, I'll get back to you is perfectly acceptable, answer to have.
Right. Definitely always better than making up an answer.
Exactly. Just, shoot straight and do the best you can and never lose your cool.
Cool. A couple last questions.
Mm-hmm.
If you could be mentored by anybody, who would it be? Do you have a favorite entrepreneur or CEO that you look up to?
Oh, I'd love to spend a day with like a Elon Musk and just kind of pick his brain on what he's doing over there, especially with those batteries. I think that's incredible. But yeah, I would say, could I keep up with him? Not sure. I doubt it. but I'd love to grab lunch with him or something like that and just shoot the shit with him.
I got to get him on the show because I like 80% of the people that I ask this question to, Elon's the answer. So
yeah. I mean,
he's a fan favorite.
He's the Nikola Tesla of our generation,
For sure. And then kind of like last question, do you have a favorite book or TV show?
Favorite book, to be honest, I read a lot of the Tim Ferriss books. I think they're like 4 Hour Body. He came up with a new one called Tools of the Titans that I just got. I'm going to start reading it, but I think Tim Ferriss has some interesting perspectives that are sort of future and forward looking that it's like anything else. It's like it's a big book, but if you pick up one or two tidbits from it, it's absolutely worth the read.
Right.
So sort of those self-improving type books I really like to read. One habit that I picked up that I think is phenomenal I recommend it for anybody, is I get up every morning at 3:34 in the morning. And the reason I do this is to tackle all tasks, all important tasks without the, interruption by 8 a.m. of emails and phone calls and texts and everything else. You're dead by the time you come home at 8, 9 o'clock, but at least you come home and everything that you need to do for the day is gone. And so if I could recommend anything, it sounds tough, but, if you do it once or twice, your body gets used to it, and you're kind of more in sync with the way, you wake up when the sun comes up and you go to bed when the sun goes down, rather than save your toughest work for night, tackle it first thing in the morning, and you sort of the sense of accomplishment you have, by 6, 7 a.m. is, wow, I really got a lot done, and the day hasn't even started yet. And so
get up at 3:30 or 4 in the morning.
3:30, 4 in the morning, and I'm in bed by 8:39.
You take a nap or anything during the day?
No. My wife says I'm nuts, but
dude, you are.
No, and I rarely drink coffee. Usually I'm kind of a tea guy. But think about it. If you're going to bed at 8:39, do the math. It's still a good 6.5, 7 hours of sleep, and then maybe on Friday I'll crash and I'll wake up late on a Saturday. But in general, the stress of because by the time, and most people know they're working and they're always putting out fires, as they say. You want the stuff you thought you were going to get done today, you get half that done because there's new stuff that comes up. Well, tackle everything you need to tackle that's important before the workday even begins, and it's a lot less stressful throughout the day. And also your sense of accomplishment. It's an attitude, it's a mood thing. It really makes the whole day a lot better, in my opinion. I encourage anyone who's got a lot on their plate to give it a shot. I picked it up from actually an ad I saw on Facebook, because I kind of, Facebook kind of knows what you're into, and it displayed it. It was this, new thinking, new style of thinking, and I think Tim Robbins talks about it every now and then. I could be wrong, one of those guys, but yeah, it works in my opinion, and it's a lot better than coming home and doing more work and staying up till midnight. I think when you're already burned out, you get the most energy in the morning, tackle all the important tasks.
Interesting tip. I may have to give that a shot because, I try to squeeze as much into my day as I can, and I'm usually stressed out because I'm trying to rush from one task to the next. So. Yeah,
exactly. You think clear when you wake up. Now, full caveat, the first couple of days I had to do it with a handful of coffee, but after that, it sort of became routine, and now my body just wakes itself up at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning every morning.
Awesome. Well, that's a good life hack there, I guess.
Yeah. It's probably in one of those Tim Ferriss books too that I haven't read yet. But
I've actually never read a Tim Ferriss book. I actually just subscribed to his podcast. So I guess I never really bought into the whole 4-hour work week. Like maybe there's probably more in it. Like there's more content in the book that I guess kind of describes what he means by 4-hour work week. I couldn't get half of my stuff done in 4 hours a day, let alone 4 hours a week. So
yeah, no, there's a lot to what he's saying. Even the 4-hour work week, I brought those tips to Vengo, and we utilize it to a certain degree with outsourcing work that doesn't we don't need to hire a guy for some of the stuff that we need to get done. We just need to train someone remotely on how to handle this. And for example, right now we have someone that answers all of our calls, and she's fantastic, and she knows all about Vengo. She's not an employee of the company, but she does it on a part-time basis. And it's it's stuff like that. And when I went back to sort of working smart, and a lot of that I picked up from the Tim Ferriss. Yeah, the 4-hour with his 4-hour body, and then there's 4-hour work week. They're both pretty good books.
Interesting. Yeah, I do believe in outsourcing certain tasks whenever you can.
To a
get
degree,
it off the plate, have someone else do it. Let them be an expert in it, so you don't have to be. If your time, if you think your time is valuable, then that's when it makes sense.
Yeah. Every time I'm doing something, I always ask myself, do I have to do this, or could I train someone remotely to take care of this? And is it repetitive enough that I'm spending an hour or two a week doing it? Maybe I can get someone remotely to handle it, so then I can use an hour or two extra of my time to focus on other things.
Exactly. Especially for entrepreneurs, when you have so much on your plate and there's so many things you have to worry about on a day-to-day basis at the company that you shouldn't have to worry about all of it.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a lot, in today's age where everything's interconnected, there's a lot of tools and resources out there that you can use to sort of help squeeze out more of the day.
Cool.
I think if you ask any entrepreneur, they say, what would they want the most? More time. I wish there was 48 hours in a day. I'd get so much more done.
For sure.
Yeah,
I hear that. Well, that's pretty much all I got, man. I know you're a busy guy. I want to let you get back to your day. Where are you? Are you in New York right now?
Yeah, I'm in New York. Our office is in Long Island City. We're actually expanding. And just a side note, we recently acquired or leasing a warehouse slash office facility in Bethpage, which is part of Nassau County. We did so with the help of the Nassau County IDA. And so I will be working now out of Nassau County, but our home base is New York.
Awesome. And I'll put all this stuff in the show notes, but anyone can find you at vengolabs.com, right?
Yep, vengolabs.com. We've got contact forms. You guys have any questions about the product, about the business, vengolabs.com. Feel free to reach out. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have. And Jonas, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate being on the show.
Oh, you're so welcome, man. I'm glad you came on. I appreciate you accepting the offer. And, I want to wish you continued success with the company.
Thank you, Jonas. Same to you.
Thanks, man. Talk to you soon, Steve. Bye.
All right. Take care. Bye.